Right. Again, thank you very much for joining. My name is J.R. Schwartz. I'm the Inside Sales Executive here at Doc 365. And today what we'd like to talk about a little bit here is the benefits of contract management. Why is it important for organizations? How can it go ahead and streamline your processes and things to that nature? So a little bit about our agenda today. So the first thing we'd like to do is introduce you to Doc 365. Secondly was why do we need contract management? What are the benefits of contract management, also including Microsoft 365? We'll go through a brief demonstration of Doc 365, and then I'd also like to leave the last 10-15 minutes for Q&A. If anyone should have any questions during the webinar here, please don't hesitate to either put them in the chat or also at the end of the webinar for that Q&A session. Then we can go ahead and open up the microphones and ask your questions. So a little bit about Doc 365. So Doc 365 is actually a sister company of Global Infonet, who has been in business for over 20 years. Started off going and customizing SharePoint profiles and SharePoint solutions for organizations. Doc 365 was built about 8 years ago on behalf of our customers. They were asking for a contract management solution that would be built on Microsoft 365 to satisfy the needs that they had internally. And we have been enhancing the solution ever since. We are a Microsoft Gold certified partner, and we are based in Jacksonville, Florida. So when does contract management go wrong? A lot of companies don't realize, but a lot of it is in lost revenue. So companies with poor contract management risk losing over 9% of their revenue each year, mainly due to missed dates, such as renewal dates or cancellation dates. Fewer conversions. Companies with poor contract management have a 20% lower conversion rate. Most of that is due to the time spent in order to go ahead to negotiate, sign, and activate that contract. Increasing costs. So companies that don't use a contract management solution face a 25 to 30% higher administrative cost, mainly due to additional salary, those that they need to bring in to make sure that the tasks are being completed. Why do we need contract management? A lot of this has to do with efficiencies and risk management, making sure that anyone that needs to know where those contracts are, who they're assigned to, what organizations that they're with, that they have the ability to go ahead and see those right in front of them. Improve financial optimization. As we said, making sure that we're not missing any dates due to renewal dates, cancellation dates. Increase contract visibility. Again, making sure that those that need to have the visibility into those contracts are aware of where they are and how they're working. And also contract compliance. Making sure that there's an audit trail to see as far as who's made changes, what version are we working on. The benefits of contract management, especially built on Microsoft 365. So security. Microsoft 365 already has its own security. So with solutions built on Microsoft 365, it'll take into account those securities as well as add additional securities on top of that. Reduced IT costs. So within that, most companies are either, we'll say, invested into or heavily invested into Microsoft 365 already. So by adding a solution that's built on top of Microsoft 365, you're not necessarily going out and spending additional monies to build alternative solutions that are already in place. Control. Everything stays within your IT infrastructure, so you have control over everything that's going into the solution. Your contract version histories. So everything as far as those versions are staying within Microsoft 365, you're able to go back and review those at any time. E-signature integration. So if you are utilizing an e-signature application, you can go ahead and integrate that into the contract management solution, and again, have the abilities to go ahead and make sure that everything is in one source of truth. And workflows, internal review and approval processes, making sure that everyone is notified, everything is staying within the solution and being tracked and audited at the same time through Microsoft. So what does Doc 365 bring to this? Some of our features here. So a centralized contract repository. Doc is built on Microsoft 365 and SharePoint Online. So all your information stays within your SharePoint Online environment. This way you'd have the abilities to go ahead and find the documents that you're looking for within that SharePoint environment. You can store any type of contract. So the Doc CMS allows you to store your vendor contracts as well as customer contracts. You can store unlimited contracts and associated documents through the platform, which will then also store in your SharePoint environment. Your enhanced security with Microsoft 365. So Doc offers you full control over your contract data to include permissions and access to sensitive data to make sure that everything in the organization stays safe. Generate contracts using standard contract templates. So Doc offers you automated contract generation utilizing your standard templates, also inserting additional clauses, metadata during the contract generation process. Redlining. You have the ability to utilize whether it be the clause library or also the redlining tools through the contract management software and share them with third parties utilizing our solution. Automated workflow approvals. So with Doc CMS, it offers you the capabilities to manage your internal and external contract approval processes. Contract standardization. So ensuring standard language. So Docs allows you to build out any number of contract templates and ensure that the standard language is the same across all contracts. The capability to build contracts as quickly as you can. So Doc can help you to build, customize, and process contracts in minutes. Now, we spoke to the clause library. So it allows you to store your most used clauses and quickly apply them to contracts utilizing the Microsoft Word add-in. Notifications. So automatically notify when contract is going to expire, if it needs review, if it's going through approvals, or any other important dates. Obligation tracking. So the Doc CMS allows you to track and assign obligations so you can always stay up to date in compliance. And then reporting. So Doc allows you to build and export any number of custom reports so you have the accountability for your contracts. You can also get frequent reports emailed to you by scheduling them out through the platform. Okay, so at this time, what I'd like to do is go into the Doc 365 platform. So as we've already stated, so Doc 365 is built on SharePoint and Microsoft Online, or excuse me, is built on Microsoft 365 and SharePoint Online. Users log in utilizing their existing ID and passwords. It can be accessed two different ways. So as you can see here, utilizing any browser application, we can also deploy our solution into your Microsoft Teams environment. You'll see the contracts tab on the left-hand side here. Users would have the same experience inside of Teams as they would through a browser environment, plus also if you utilize Teams on a mobile device, so iPad, mobile phone, as long as you have the Teams app downloaded, then you would have access into the contract management solution. Through our solution, you also have the capabilities to set different levels of permissions. So you have your read-only permission, your user permission, and your admin permissions. So here you really have the ability to say who's going to have access to what different data sets. If you wanted to do them based upon department-wise, based upon account representative or location-wise, all of that can be done through our solution. So when a user logs in, it'll take them to their dashboard. Dashboards are completely customizable based upon what you want to see that's important to you. You'll see there's approximately 50 different widgets that you can go ahead and create your dashboards with. You can also create custom widgets based upon the metadata that's inside of the database, based upon a list or a chart view. You have the capabilities to maintain multiple dashboards. So if it's more contract information that you're focused on, then we can build out contract dashboards. If it's more vendor information that you're focused on, we can build out vendor dashboards as well. There's no limitation to the number of dashboards that you can have available to you to find the information that you're looking for quickly and easily. Also, the dashboard is completely interactive. So at any time, we can see here for our expiring contracts, if we see something that's overdue, we can select on this and it'll take us directly to that contract where we're able to see all the information that was added in and what the new status of it is. Notifications are also extremely important. So through our solution, you have the capabilities to obtain notifications 3 different ways. So first and foremost, always through the software itself. We can also send email notifications, as well as if you are utilizing the Teams integration, then we can also send notifications through the team chatbots. From here on the left-hand side, we'll see the Contracts tab. So this will take us to our contract repository. This is going to house all of the contracts that a company has. Search capabilities on top here. So if it's a specific contract number that you're looking for, you can go ahead and search through this. You can, in this feature here, utilize keyword searches. So if you're looking to see how many times you've utilized a clause or you're not necessarily sure of a contact or a contract name, you can use this search here. And then you can also do filtered searches. So depending upon how broad or granular you'd like to be with your search, then you can go ahead and utilize this function. These are also customizable fields based upon what you'd like to search for and how you're searching. Creation of contracts is extremely easy. So we go up here to add a contract. So this takes us to our contract templates. Now, as we discussed earlier, we can take all of your standard contracts and load them into the platform here. There's no limitation to the number of contracts that can be loaded. Really, they're just Microsoft Word documents with placeholders in them. So once you've identified the type of contract that you'd like to create, you select on it. From here, you can create utilizing your company's template. If it's an already created and signed internal document, you can drop and drag or upload it through here. Or if it's a vendor or third-party contract, you can do the same. You can drop and drag or upload it through here. Here you can also utilize the AI and OCR capabilities of the platform as to where you can begin to extract out the metadata to pre-populate your fields. For this demonstration here, we'll go ahead and build out a quick contract. Now, these fields also completely customizable based upon what type of information you need for said contract. If this contract has a parent-child relationship or is somehow related to another contract, you can also set that association through here at the creation by adding in our effective and our expiration dates. So this is what triggers our notifications, and then any additional information that you may need for the contract. Once you have all your information loaded, we just click Save. Depending upon the size of the contract, typically takes about 15 to 20 seconds, and that contract will be created here for us. We're able to see a preview on the right-hand side here. We can see our third-party information was automatically added. And from here, we can just go to the contract. So the contract gets housed in the Documents tab underneath our contract folder. Now from here, we can also utilize our integrations. So by clicking on the Word icon here, this will take us to the contract inside of a Word environment. So if there are any changes that need to be made to the contract, you can utilize the functionalities of Word. So here we simply track our changes. See the Doc tab on the top, which will also contain the clause library. So from here, we can take your standard or non-standard clauses and load them into the library here for fast and easy changing. So for instance, if you didn't want to use this confidentiality clause, you wanted to add in an alternative, we can do that right from here. And then our contract will save. We'll also capture our version histories for you. So we can see that it was created as a .1. We've now made a change. It's a .2 with the timestamp and the modifier. And then you can also go back and view or restore to the previous version at any time. In this portion, you also have the capabilities to collaborate with either internal or external parties. So for instance, if this was a contract that needed to go back for external review, we can go ahead and send that right from here. So by utilizing the platform to send this link or to send this out, all we're doing to our counterparty is we're sending them a link. You're not giving them access into your IT infrastructure. They don't have to be affiliated with Doc in any way. All they have to do is have access to Microsoft Word. So they would receive a link that looks like this. Here they can go ahead and any additional comments that they have, they can add on the right-hand side here. They would be able to download the contract. They're able to see your changes, and any changes that they need to make, they can be done through here as well. So by saving it on their end, they can go ahead and upload it right back into the to the link. And then through this link, it will now automatically update the version history inside of the contract management software. And we're able to see here, it'll upgrade to a major version as it's sent for counterparty review. We've now received their feedback, and it'll continue on until negotiations have been made on both sides. To compare the features, you can then utilize the functionalities of Word and their compare to go in and see what changes were made and be able to review the language. Here you can also, once this is prepared and ready to be sent for signatures, we can convert Word documents to PDF or vice versa. If it comes into you as a vendor contract or a PDF, you can simply load it into the solution as the PDF, and then at this point, convert that to a Word document to make any types of changes that you needed to. You can also create additional folders. So if there is any supporting documentation that needs to go with the contract, those can be sitting here. And then the ability to upload existing external files. Here you can also merge documents. So if there are multiple documents that need to be together, once they're loaded in, you have the abilities to merge however many documents it is together and also sort the order that it would be going to. And then you'll also see the e-signature platforms. So Doc365 currently integrates with DocuSign, Adobe Sign, and Certify. We utilize the existing license that you have with either of those e-signature providers to go ahead and make that integration. Once it's ready for signature, then you would just go through here, add in your title, your levels of signers, upload the document. This would then take you to your pre-fill and add as to where it'll create the envelope automatically for you, and all you need to do is add in your placeholders and send it out. Once all signatures have been captured, that document would automatically come back into Doc365 with the contract name, number, and receive fully executed. Here we also have for clause extraction. Now, once this document is received fully executed, this will automatically take place, but we can also do it manually. So here we will automatically extract utilizing the AI, the clauses inside of the contract. So you'll be able to see them here for easy reference. Also, if there are any obligations that are owed within those clauses, here you have the abilities to go ahead and assign those out and then add in a message based upon the deliverable that assigned personnel should be on the lookout for or be providing. Here you have your workflow scenarios or your internal review and approval processes. So here we can create as many different workflow scenarios as you have. There's no limitations to the number of workflows that can be captured or uploaded into the solution. We can also append them to specific contract types. So for instance, it's been NDA, only needs to go through legal review. Then the creator of an NDA, when they get to this point, legal review would be the recommended template that they see. We can also create them dynamically. And I'll use the scenario as most companies would say, if there's a value of a contract that's less than $10,000, it would go through one workflow scenario. If it's more than 10,000, then there may be an additional signator or two. So we can create those out utilizing the dynamics of the workflow. So this way, as those contracts are created based upon the contract details, those recommended templates would show for the creators. They can also be auto-triggered, which means that as soon as a contract is created, it'll automatically begin that workflow process. You can also start them manually. Now here you can see we've created a 3-step process. Starts with the vendor manager, then the legal, then the CFO. You can add in any notes for your reviewers that you'd like to. And here we can go ahead and start it. So this scenario here, our vendor manager just received an email and a notification that they have a contract to approve. From that email will also contain a hyperlink where they will bring them right to this stage of the contract management solution. Once they've reviewed, they can add in any notes or comments that they'd like to, either approve it, reject it, or if they need more information. By rejecting it or asking for additional information, it'll provide a message box as to why or what they need. By approving it, this will go ahead and close their task, and it'll automatically then go to the next stage. So legal just received their email and notification that they have a contract to approve, so on and so forth until the workflow has been completed, at which time the owner and creator of the contract will receive an email and a notification that their workflow has been approved, and they can continue on with their internal process. Here you have your activities, or more along the lines of your project management for the contract. So here you'll see anything that's been automatically assigned will be captured here. You also have the capabilities to create additional activities. So any notes that you may have, you can mention other users. If it's something that's secured or private, you could also make it visible to only yourself. Any additional notifications that need to be sent out, if it's recurring, we can go ahead and enable that and how often it's going to recur for that notification. Any additional tasks, obligations, you can also deploy emails. So if it's something that you wanted to make sure was captured on the contract itself, then you can go ahead and deploy that directly from here. Here you also have a tab for invoices. So any invoices that are associated with the contract, those can be uploaded through here, or you can simply just add in the data for the invoice to make sure that anyone that has access to the contract can see as far as what the payment schedules are, or if there's any late invoices that are associated to it. Here you have your associated contracts. So as we stated earlier, this contract is associated or related to any other contracts. That can be designated here. So anyone that has access to this contract would be able to see whether it be what the parent contract is or what the latest version is that you're working on. Your renewals, exactly that. So if this contract was to renew, then we would see that on this line right here. And here we have your history or your internal compliance for the contract. So it will go ahead and show you all the steps that the contract has taken from its creation all the way through being received back fully executed. Next, we'll also real quick go through the vendor management side of it. So we classify that as a party, whether it be your customers, vendors, suppliers, funders, whatever that might be. In here would be their repository, same search capabilities on top. So if it's something that, a specific party that you're looking for, you can search that here. You can also utilize the customizable filters on the right-hand side. Here you're able to capture all of your basic company information, customizable fields based upon what information is important to you that you're capturing. Any additional documentation that you should collect on the businesses, such as W-9 forms, that can be captured here. Your key contact information. Here you have your associated contracts. So you can think of this as more of this company's own repository. It'll show you all of the contracts that you have with this organization. Your associated companies. So here you have the capabilities to align the corporate family structure. Here we also have activities at the party level. So anything designated for this organization, any additional notes that you needed, notifications, tasks, emails, can all be set up through here. For companies that collect certificate of insurance or licensing information on organizations, there's a designated spot for them here. So here, based upon the expiration date, it will not only send a notification internally that the documentation is about to expire, it will also send a notification externally if you have that contact's email address, letting them know that their documentation is about to expire, prompting them to go ahead and submit into you updated information. Here you have a spot for custom questionnaires. So companies will utilize this based upon, as we can see here, customer onboarding, due diligence questionnaires, security questionnaires. So anything that you'd like to go ahead and build out based upon information that you need from that organization, those can be built and deployed through Doc 365. The organization or the receiving party would receive a link, as we saw previously. They would go ahead and fill out your questionnaire and submit it back. You would then receive a notification that the questionnaire has been completed. We would see the status change to completed and the completion date. Here you have custom vendor scorecards. So here you have the capabilities to go ahead and really identify how are your vendors working for you. These are based upon your themes, weights, measures. These can be filled out. And then Doc 365 will also capture the history of it for you as well. So based upon the peaks and valleys, how have they been supporting your organization? Are we keeping them, or is it time to source a new vendor? And here we also have our history. So your internal compliance based upon the party itself, anyone that's made any changes, any additions, deletions, deployments would all be captured here for you. And here we also have reporting capabilities. So there's approximately 20 different reports that you would have the access to through Doc 365. Here you're able to go ahead and identify your filters, slice and dice it however you'd like to. You can export the information to an Excel or a CSV file. You're maintaining your column outputs. And then you also have the capabilities to schedule the reports. So if this is something that you wanted to see on a weekly, a bi-weekly, or even a monthly basis, you just come in and tell the system as to what days and times that you would like this report delivered. It can be to multiple personnel. And then once completed and scheduled, the system will automatically go ahead and generate that report on the specifics or the specified day and time and send it out to the recipients. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Doc 365 and the benefits of contract management inside of Microsoft 365. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and look at some questions that have come through. So the first one I see here is, can the tool accommodate PI reviews of vendors, for example, SOX 2? If I'm understanding that correctly, if you don't mind, Joe, or Joseph, who submitted the question?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I have you. If you wouldn't mind just elaborating a little bit on the question there.
Yeah, if you can hang on, I'm just going to close the door.
Sure, no problem. And while we're waiting there, another question that came in was, will we provide a link or a copy of this webinar? Yes, we absolutely will. Can you upload support documents like tax exempt certifications? Yes, you can. So that would be done at the party level here, where we went and showed based upon the documents folder. You also have the capabilities here, just like in the contract part of it, to create specific or specified folders. You can name them however you'd like to add in supporting information that's needed. How does the licensing work for Doc 365? So the licensing is, as we're deploying this into your Microsoft 365 environment, so it's an enterprise license That being said, anyone with an email address inside of your organization could potentially have access to Doc 365. You would just want to specify as far as what level of permission or access they would have inside of the contract management solution. Do we integrate with Dynamics 365? So Doc has right now, there's 3 native integrations. So we have Dynamics 365 for sales, Dynamics Business Central, and also Salesforce. We also have an open API. So if it is a ERP or CRM that you're utilizing that you want to have the ability to transfer data back and forth to, typically that can be built out as well. We would just have to look and see what that, the solution that you are working with currently, what their limitations are. Okay. And at this time, are there any additional questions that anyone had? Please feel free to take yourself off of mute.
I had put a question out there in regards to whether Docs permits you to do quantifiable risk assessments based on specific provisions within a contract.
Okay. And if you wouldn't mind providing an example.
Well, I used to use a software, and if you entered, like if the contract has condition precedent terms, you would enter that into to the system. If it has liquidated damage provisions, you would enter that into the system. And then it would take all of those terms that you've entered and it would come up with a percentage based on the amount of risk. And if your risk was between a certain percentage, then you typically wanted to make sure that those provisions were changed.
Understood. Okay. And not at this time.
Okay.
It is something that's on our roadmap to go ahead and provide as a future enhancement,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not available right now.
Okay.
Okay. I see questions coming in about cost. And unfortunately, that's not something that I can speak to at this time. If anyone is interested in licensing costs or how our pricing models work, we're more than happy to set up an additional 15 to 30-minute call with you to discuss that. And if it's something that the business would be interested in. Right. At this time, are there any additional questions that anyone had? All right, everyone. Well, I would like to again thank you very much for taking the time. Oop. The program doesn't currently. The program doesn't currently provide a need. Is there a possibility of customization? Yes, there absolutely is. We would just need to understand as far as what that customization would be. So something that Doc does is when we're going through our onboarding process, we are a completely customizable platform. We want to understand as far as how your organization plans to utilize the solution and build it out that way. So we would just need to understand as far as what the features that we're missing are, or what that need is that you have, and be able to build it out from there. Any ongoing update to the platforms? Yes. So Doc is consistently enhancing our platform. So typically every quarter, we will go ahead and send out an email to our customers about 2 to 3 weeks in advance before the latest version is ready to be deployed. At that time, you'll be able to see what the new features and enhancements are. If it's something that you'd like to opt into, then we'll go ahead and schedule a time to deploy. If you're content with the version that you're on, then you can opt out of that enhancement. Regardless, the enhancements are included within your subscription costs. So by upgrading, there is no additional cost to your organization. All right. Any additional questions or anything that I missed? Right. Then at this time, I will go ahead and here is my contact information. Anybody would like to take a screenshot, write that down. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time with any additional questions that you may have regarding this demonstration and webinar here. If you'd like to set up some one-on-one or additional time to speak with the organization, I'd be more than happy to. What we'll also do is for everyone in attendance, we will go ahead and send out the recording of this webinar for you. And again, I would like to thank everyone for taking the time out of their day to join Doc 365 here for this webinar and demonstration of Doc 365. We certainly appreciate it. And we look forward to hearing from everyone. Thank you very much.